the Auburn Blitz podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz podcast here on a Wednesday morning. We're glad that you joined us wherever and whenever it is that you tune us in here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn intake. Brett and Faith here with you on this Wednesday morning. Good to see you as always, Faith.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I mean, we said we're running a little bit late, but late's relative, I guess,
on our
right?
own schedule over here.
That's right. That's right. The computer didn't even want to get started. It was like kind of dragging. But first day of school back for a lot of people. I know that's kind of a touchy subject for some, but it is what it is. And even closer now to the start of football season for all of us for high school and college. So, everybody's smiling. Everybody's smile gets a little bit bigger every day that we get closer to the start of the season. But we're glad that you have joined us out there. And as always, to get started here on the program, we do want to thank our partners.
Sensa Green, for air that's cool and clean, call in Sensa Green. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. You want to make sure you're saving thousands of dollars on the installation process of a carrier unit. They're reliable. Sensa Green are great people that you're going to be able to rely on, making sure that, you are saving money, but also have working, functioning air conditioning.
Absolutely. You got to have that. Got to be functioning for sure. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, but serving the Southeast, and tons of projects going on. They manage multi-million-dollar renovations, multi-million-dollar school builds, municipalities. They work with everybody. And I'm going to tell you, they will take you from the pre-construction planning phase all the way to the finished product and hold people accountable to make sure your money was spent correctly. So call on Scout Program Management. Look, I'm telling you firsthand, I've watched them work. They are worth every penny and more because they save you in a lot of different situations that you wouldn't know what to do. So hire the experts. Call on Scout Program Management.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. With this nasty weather, Bunkers is going to be open today until Sunday, and they are going to have 27 different sports on that golf simulator bay. They've got $20 for the golf simulator bays until about 4 p.m. And then some days they do it all day, and some days it's just $40 after 4 p.m. So go over to Bunkers. They've got great food, great happy hour deals, great summer deals. Get them before everybody's back and before they go away.
Absolutely. Love Bunkers. Appreciate them so much over there. Alan, KJ West, the whole group, all of their staff, outstanding service over there. How much is too much? We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. A couple of different things to go down that. But you were at practice a couple of days ago, the last media viewing window for all of us, Faith. So I'm just going to kind of give you the floor and get your take on what you saw, what you thought stood out as we get another practice under our belt. You and I'll be back over at the complex tomorrow morning. They'll have another media viewing window. So looking forward to that. But just give us an update.
Yeah, just as we've talked about it, and we've heard Jackson Arnold and the receivers, the DBs really have shown how much pressure they're able to put on our receivers. And I think we saw that a lot. I will mention that it was all indoors because of the rain. And so we didn't have the space that we normally do to watch. And so, you kind of were just with one group. But the receivers, they were getting the work put in on them. And I think that was something that really helps them and get better, and knowing that the competition is going to be harder than who they're competing against. But the DBs really looked good. We got to talk to Horatio Fields after, and he talked about the DBs and how much pressure they're putting on them and how important he thinks it is for the success of the receivers. Cam had a nice one-handed catch inside to get a touchdown, and so did Malcolm. That was a really beautiful play. Also, I will note that Ashton Daniels, he's got a powerful arm. Um, they've talked about how they're working on the release coming out of the quarterback's hands, and I think that's something he's really been working on. Definitely overthrew a couple of passes. Horatio talked about how, they're waiting to kind of have that mental connection of, okay, I break here, I break there. And it's hard with all the receivers being different and the routes being different. But Deuce, I told you right after, I think he's going to be used on the run game some because he looks really good. And he's super, super fast. He's able to kind of use the lateral planes of almost getting outside the pocket and then seeing if anything's there last second and then not, and he just goes right through an open hole, and he looked really, really good. So got to see some a little bit of kicking and punt returns and everything. And Jeremiah Cobb was not obviously a part of that, but Malcolm was, and he looked really good. Um, we all the media almost got taken out by them practicing the punts. We were like, all right, they don't want us here today, apparently. But they looked really good. And I mean, I called you right after. Xavier Chaplin looks like a beast.
You also said that you talked about the running part of the quarterbacks, and Coach Freeze even mentioned literally after you and I talked, he comes out and says, well, we incorporated more of the run today into the package. So the defense wasn't just sitting there knowing that they were going to throw the football. And I think that's a big deal. And I talked about that yesterday, Faith. When you have a dual threat quarterback system, they don't want the quarterbacks getting hit, so they blow the whistle before things. When things break down in a football game, that's when dual threat quarterbacks shine. You don't get a chance to see that in practice, so it's really kind of a false feel sometimes because if it's a called pass play and the protection breaks down, guys like Jackson Arnold, Deuce Knight are going to be able to make plays with their legs, and you don't get to see that a lot at practice. You also mentioned
too. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm just
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah.
So obviously, high school is so much different from college play, and we've mentioned that a lot. But Deuce was great in his running game in high school, and you hope that he can incorporate still those skills, but hope that the offensive line for Auburn is going to be able to help him out too if he's going to run the ball. So I think with how experienced our offensive line is, that's the goal, to have him get the space so that he's not going to be just completely smacked down, eaten right either at the line of scrimmage or further back. You know what I mean?
Right. I think Deuce, like you said, will have a role. I don't know that anybody really knows what that is right now. It's hard for me to think that guy is going to stand on the sideline and not do anything all season. Again, Jackson Arnold is our starting quarterback, and we want him to be successful. So I don't want to get into this. Hey, well, is there a package for Deuce Knight? And look, I want Deuce Knight to stay at Auburn too. I know you do. I know Randy does. But here's the deal: we gotta play in the moment, and the moment is Jackson Arnold's a starting quarterback, and everybody knows it. I think it was a good decision by Hugh Freeze immediately after spring was over to name him. This is the first time, and I know Peyton Thorne's been here the last couple of years, but even last year there was debate on whether he was going to be the starter, because you were like, well, we're seeing Hank Brown do this, and we're hearing about Holden Gerner and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, 3 games in, it was topsy-turvy because nobody really ever – the reason we were hearing all that is because nobody stepped up. Even though Peyton Thorne was the starter coming back from the year before, nobody really had a lot of confidence in him. And then 3 games in, hell, Hugh Freeze didn't have any confidence in him. He benched him. And that's why we kind of spiraled out of control. He made the decision, go ahead and name Jackson Arnold immediately after spring. There has been no doubt. There's been no ambiguity going into the offseason and now leading into fall camp. You know who the number 1 guy is. And now he's got to go out and perform. And I think, like he said at media days, giving Jackson Arnold the confidence again is going to be the biggest key. That's why he asked DJ Durkin to maybe lay off a little bit early to get him in the flow. It's not because he wanted to take it easy on him, but let's be honest, athletes, when they go through transition and they leave a place and they've had a little bit of a downer, and you get mental, man, and you start second guessing yourself. And you and I saw Jordan Rogers talk about it at SEC Media Days breaking down Jackson Arnold. He said, I see a guy back there holding the football too long, not sure of himself, not trusting his instincts. And if you play like that, you're not going to play well. So that's what Coach Freeze is trying to do, Faith, is get him mentally ready because he's got all the tools to get it.
Right. And like we said, it all comes with the reps and it comes with knowing your team. But definitely having that decision well put out and made, it makes a big difference.
It does, I think, for the confidence of the offense, for that guy, for the rest of the team. And you're not going into fall camp going, well, who's he going to pick? Why is it,
I think last year he did that in order for the competition between the quarterbacks of who is going to step up. And I don't think
nobody did.
I don't think Hugh saw what he wanted out of that. And that comes with trial and error of, all right, what works for these guys? That didn't work for them. Nobody stepped up the way that they should have. And so he kind of was stuck with,
right.
All right, I thought this was going to go a different way, but I guess not.
Well, I saw the guy that we all wanted. He was in Miami, Florida. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But anyway, you see what happens when you have a lot of unsurety in your quarterback. Right out if you're having to bench somebody 3 games in, you kind of have paved the way for what's going to end up happening the rest of the season. And we weren't able to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So the quarterback, anything else that you saw from a couple of days ago that you thought, wow. I mean, I know you guys got a pretty extended media viewing time. I mean, yeah, we all there about 2 hours, weren't you?
No. We were there about 40 minutes.
I'm saying as a whole, you guys were at the complex.
Oh yeah, we had some time to wait in between.
Yeah, y'all got about 45 minutes, but then you had to wait another 45, for the players to come in. So I do remember I thought you had already left, and you're like, well, they're about to send players in. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I'm like, you've been there out of practice for an hour. So you just don't ever know how the practice is going to flow. I do want to add the reason I said how much is too much, and I think you and I talked about this a couple of days ago, is how to monitor and how much physicality you want in fall camp. Mm-hmm. We have a deep roster. We have a young roster in spots, but we have a deep roster, and we see some guys being held out right now. But in 20-something days, Faith, it's full bore, and you've got to get acclimated to the speed and the contact part of it. But you don't want to go overboard and get 2 or 3 key guys hurt, and you don't have them for the first game. So, how much is too much? As far as contact.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing that when it comes to that running back room right now with Damari Alston and his heel sprain, Jeremiah with his finger. And you're kind of seeing, all right, this running back room has already been something that we've kind of been a little skeptical on so far this year. And now we've got number 1 and number 2 hurt. I mean, they're not hurt to the extent where they don't think they're going to be able to play, but also
little things.
But yeah, also it's all right. Is this going to happen in the middle of the season where something like this happens? Are they injury prone? How are we going to go from here? Are they going to be able to bounce back from this just full speed the same way that they were before? You hope so, but.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw the conversation I had last night on Sports Blitz with the Florida locked on guy. And in your guy DJ Lagway that you every time I look at DJ Lagway now, I want to put a fragile handle with care sign on his. So I bring up the fact that immediately in fall camp, DJ Lagway's in a boot. Now he's out of a boot, and I said, how certain are you that DJ Lagway makes it through the season? And he fired back. He said, well, look, I know he's got a bad rap about being hurt all the time, but he's only missed one game, in his career with an injury. But then he pivoted and said, well, he has always had a shoulder injury, and he's always got something wrong with his calf, and he's always got something tweaked in his ankle. And it's like I told him, I said, I told him, out of our whole group, I'm the highest on DJ Lagway. I said, man, I'm a DJ Lagway fan. I think he's a great quarterback, but people bring up a good point that he ain't no good on the sideline. And if he's unreliable, you ain't getting any production out of a guy standing over there in a boot. How confident was he? Healthy? And he was a little skeptical. I mean, he just was.
Yeah, I definitely lost you there for a second. But, and it makes you think, too, last year with their starter, Graham, getting a concussion so early on.
Right.
Is this an offensive line problem for them, too, some?
Right. And I was trying to say that in comparison with our running backs.
Right.
DJ Lagway at Florida, again, great talent, not any good standing on the sideline.
Right.
I mean, Damari Alston, Jeremiah Cobb, got to have them healthy. And then, of course, Darrell Robinson, Faith, he played at UConn, and he had a good, yards per carry average. I think it was like 7. But he was playing against UConn competition. He wasn't playing in the SEC, so that's going to be a learning curve for him. And then I know we talked about this, Randy and I talked about this yesterday with Omar Mapson. There's so much hype around Omar Mapson right now, but let's just be honest about it. If Omar Mapson's running out there, and I'm proud that he's a great talent, and I think he's going to have his day, but if he's running out there, getting significant carries early in the season, we may have an issue somewhere. Yeah. So that's just a couple of points. Thought you did a really good job, and some really good interviews that we posted on our social media out there with Horatio Fields and Robert Woodyard. So that was really, really good stuff. Let's thank a few of our partners here at this point. Sure Shot.
Sure Shot. They've got all your firearm apparel and hunting needs. They sell and trade new and used firearms. It's almost getting to dove season. You're looking forward to deer season coming up too. And you want to make sure you've got your target practice in. They're going to be able to help you out with all that. You want to have your ammo practice rounds, and then your real ready to fire rounds. So make sure you go over to Sure Shot. They're going to be able to help you out. And if you're looking for any new guns for this upcoming season, Sure Shot, again, will be able to help you. They're new ones. They've got used ones. You can build them there. They've got it all. So 256-329-0080.
And I gave everybody permission yesterday to go buy themselves a new gun. Don't you think it's time? I mean, everybody needs a new gun, right?
Hey, you can't have too many. Oliver Ross, if you've got a party of 20 all the way up to a party of 20,000, whether it's a tailgate, whether it's a wedding, sorority party, fraternity party, anything like that, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartenders for you. They are certified and licensed bartenders who are going to make sure that you have a great time with you and your guest, and they can focus on the bartending while you focus on the entertainment process of it all.
And Oliver Ross, once again, got the Buckmasters Expo that's coming up in Montgomery. That's a massive event. That is 20,000+, probably upwards of like 40,000 people. And they're serving that event. So that just tells you what they can handle and how they do it. All right, Faith, it's always fun to see the video that we all saw come out. I tweeted it last night too. And congratulations to Cameron King. I thought that video was great with Coach Freeze bringing him up, letting him kind of tell his story about what it's like to be a walk-on. I thought he played that off very well. And then he acted like, okay, appreciate it. Give him a hand, everybody. As he was headed back to his seat, he called him back down there and told him that he's no longer a walk-on, that he's on scholarship. And, man, it does, man. It kind of makes you emotional. And for that kid, and, to see the team, how they really, really gathered around him. And we see these videos all the time, but man, they never get old because, Faith, it takes me back to the fact that scholarships still mean something, and they do carry value, and it does have merit to it that you earned your spot on that team, and it kind of vaults you into another level with your teammates. I'm proud for that kid.
We talk about all the negativity that comes with NIL and things like that, and how basically the scholarships don't even mean anything for some of these kids because of how much they're getting paid. But you see the hard work that kids like Cameron King is putting in, how they really work for trying to get on scholarships so they can provide an opportunity of education. And, even Kirby Smart talked at SEC Media Days about how hard it is to be a walk-on because there's limited roster spots for people to have scholarships, and how, Georgia has had really, really great stories about walk-ons at their program. And I think it's a really great thing for Cameron King and Auburn to show. We see it all the time, I think, in basketball,
Right.
the walk-on stories. But, it's great to see how hard you have to work to get there, and how much the scholarships really can do for you.
I think you bring up a couple of points, and then Glenn comes in and says being a walk-on in college now has to be tough, and that's exactly what Kirby said. It's sad because it's a dying thing in this day and age of college football. And to me, walk-ons are the purest form. That's the closest form to the college football that our parents grew up watching, and everybody has associated with the sport of college football. Is that you got a kid that is appreciative to go to school, get an opportunity to get an education, play a sport that they love, and give 120% for that school, not themselves, but for that school, and how enamored they are just to be there. And Coach Freeze talked about that too, not too long ago, about, and I think it was the opening press conference that you and I were at for fall camp. He said, managing the transfer portal and all these guys coming in, and how do you keep them here? And he said, man, it's a privilege to play at a place like Auburn. And I think we're losing that. And I hope that it resonates with some of the higher ranked athletes on all these teams when they see how much it means to a kid that's out there busting their ass to go to practice every day and work hard and do whatever they've got to do just to be on that team, how much it means to them to get a scholarship like that, and put things in perspective, that it's not just about, hey, I need more money and I need all this, that there is still that part of college football out there, although it's dying. And like Kirby said, if we keep going down this path, we won't have these stories to tell anymore because there won't be any opportunities for these guys.
Yeah, it just tells a really good story and how hard you have to work to get there. And it's the one, I don't know if it's 1%, but the very small amount of guys that are working for that one goal, not working towards the goal of, all right, I'm worth all of this. Everyone needs to be paying me for my service for them. It's, I'm working hard to represent my last name in Auburn football and put my education and family in a good position where I'm going to school.
How did we lose all that, Faith? I mean, I'm like, as you sit there and talk about this, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you just, everything that was coming out of your mouth right there just took me back to, that's the college football that everybody, I think, watches this show, any other podcast, that's why they wake up on Saturday and they get there, and it's the feel of coolness in the air. It's the tailgate, and it's all that. It's, you got a bunch of kids that are playing for your school that have pride, that grew up a fan of that school, that would run through a brick wall for that school or that coach. We can mask all that now. We can act like we still have all that, and it looks the same on the outside, and everybody's still wearing the same jerseys, and everybody's still doing the same things they've always done. But it ain't the same, man. I mean, let's just be honest about it. This is the part that I think all of us would love to go back to. somehow. I know we can't, but this is why we all are so frustrated with this sport right now, because everything you just said is what makes college football, or what made college football so special.
Brett, we lost it when we started offering kids out of high school $1 million. That's where it all went wrong.
I think that, I think you're right in a sense, but I think it was even before that. I think, kids were getting money under the table, and we all knew that. Certain kids were getting paid and whatever. But
until you're able to reveal it and you're saying, hey, I'm paying
right.
so-and-so $1 million, then you've got other people will say, well, I'm higher ranked than him. They want him that bad, and they're not offering me that. Well, I'm going to go somewhere else where they're going to offer me more because I'm worth more. Look at my rankings.
Well, if you would actually have
on the football field yet at a college field, like what?
Right. Well, the name, image, and likeness thing. Everybody wants players to get paid, and they should, because
Right.
they contribute to the success of the school and all that. But if you'd have had a dadgum governing body that actually had some teeth and enforced something and said name, image, and likeness is this, it's not pay for play, and we wouldn't have had abuse of it, maybe things wouldn't be with the way they are now. But you had a governing body that was weak as water, that, like you and I just sat down with Coach Tuberville on Saturday, and he said it was an organization, it is an organization that has no teeth, that was disappointed in the leadership of the NCAA for not fighting back against some of this, and just kind of just kowtowing down to every lawsuit that gets thrown at them. And now you have the mess that we're in. You don't have anybody fighting for the integrity of the sport. You needed somebody to stand up and say, no, that's not what NIL is. Can I remind everybody what those three letters stand for? Name, image, and likeness. That means it lets Faith Richardson go get a deal to make money on the side with whoever they want to sign a contract with, however they want to do it. But the school does not need to be involved at all. But when you added collectives and you added, now a salary cap, you've gone way down the path. You can't turn around at this point. So the sport as we know it is ruined. Now you've got to adapt to this new reality. And that video took us all back last night to the purity of the game, and the small amount of that still lasts and still exists in college football. And it's not long for. There's not going to be many more years, I think, Faith, that you're going to even see those videos anymore.
No, I don't think so. And I just think it's really disappointing and upsetting. But I mean, it's great for Cameron King, and
Yes.
we're very proud of him and excited to see what he's going to do.
Absolutely. All right. Strength of schedule. And before we head out on this and go through the strength of schedule, a couple more of our partners here on the program. And again, we appreciate all of them so very much. Old Number One Customs.
Old Number One Customs, if you've got outdoor living space, master bath, kitchen, anything, they're going to come in there, renovate it, be in and out of your house in just 2 weeks when the renovation process starts. So you want to make sure that you call on Old Number One Customs, because they are doing some outstanding designs and renovations. Brett, you're going to be one of them. We're looking forward to that.
It starts next week.
Woo.
Here we go.
Just 2 weeks, Brett. Like I said, when the kids go back off to school, you just talked about Brinley, how she's just back at school today.
That's right. Didn't even know she'd left the house. That's how hard I was sleeping. So I'll tell on myself a little bit. 334-752-6162 there for Old Number One Customs.
And JFA Blue Plumbing, if you want to have filtered water throughout every single faucet in your house, I don't know why you wouldn't. Call on JFA Blue Plumbing. They'll install Home Atlas Water Filter Duo for just $15.99. It's so important to have filtered water for your body, inside and out, and your pets, kids, everyone. You want to make sure that you're taking care of everybody. Those medical bills are going to be a lot more expensive. 844-JFA Blue.
All right, strength of schedule. Let's look at this. I thought this was interesting because the Florida guy for Locked On last night, they've got a good team. but their schedule's brutal. When I say it is brutal, it's brutal. So you can have a good team, but your record may not reflect it. And it's all
Right.
because of strength of schedule. Hey, you can have a mediocre team and have a great record, a la Indiana last year, and get to the playoffs and get your brains beat out.
Right.
So it's smoke and mirrors sometimes both ways. So ranking, CBS Sports ranked the SEC strength of schedule. We'll start at the bottom and move our way up. We like to do that. Who has the easiest schedule in the league, Faith?
Looks like Missouri does. They should be winning a lot of their games this season.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their toughest, they've got them ranked. Their toughest game really on the schedule is on the road with us, is being one of the toughest games on their schedule. So we'll see. But they have the easiest schedule according to CBS Sports. Tennessee Vols come in at 15.
Yep, you've got the Vols at 15, and with their big quarterback switch and the new quarterback there, you're gonna, I don't know, maybe hope that you've got an easier schedule so that you can figure that out. I don't know.
Really, two games to note there, and we had the Locked On Tennessee guy on last night as well, and it really isn't about as easy of a path to 9 wins as you can get. So I know that Nico Emilialiava is not there anymore, but I'm not sure that they're going to need, outstanding quarterback play. They've got a good roster, and the way things kind of play out, I think they're gonna waltz to at least 9 wins. What about the Georgia Bulldogs coming in at 14? Again, schedule with new quarterback. How's that going to play out? We'll see. Not sure everybody's got a lot of confidence in Gunnar Stockton. He's got a lot to prove. But when you got the 14th, easiest schedule in the league, or the third easiest schedule in the league, ranked 14th in the league, that helps you a lot. So
they're only traveling to Tennessee and Auburn.
So there you go. All right, so let's blow through some of these. South Carolina at 13. Who we got next? Let's go through the next 3 or 4.
Of course, like Ole Miss.
I did that on purpose, by the way.
I know. You're giving me both of the ones that I just can't. Then we've got Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin talked about making the easiest schedule so that they'll get into the playoffs.
Well, there they are.
Yeah.
And drum roll, please.
I keep saying we're always towards the bottom. It doesn't matter what list it is. We're towards the bottom.
And this is a good one to be toward the bottom.
It is. Finally. It is. We've talked about how our schedule is on the easier side. We've just got the 2 on the road at Oklahoma and on the road at Texas A&M.
Right.
That's going to be our 2.
That's going to be our 2 that we really kind of are the benchmarks for us. So Auburn with the 11th ranked schedule in the conference out of 16, not bad. And then our nemesis, the Alabama Crimson Tide, comes in at 10. So if you look at Alabama at 10, Auburn 11, Georgia at 14, Tennessee at 15, I mean, some easy paths for some of these teams, some easier paths for some of these teams. Kentucky, who needs an easy schedule, is up there at number 9. Not too good for the Wildcats, coming off last year's deal. What about 8 through 5? Faith, let us know.
Got Texas at 8. They've got a trip to Georgia, but I wouldn't assume that they would be taking the easiest route.
Right. They do have to go to Florida too. As well. So it'll depend on how Florida's playing at that time, but that's a tough game in Gainesville. I don't care how good Florida is, it's always tough.
Right. And then at 7, you've got LSU.
Your guy.
Yeah, your guy.
The fake Southerner.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more patience is LSU going to? have with Brian Kelly. Like I could see this thing kind of collapsing on LSU at some point, and Brian Kelly being shown the door, because I don't know that even LSU fans have fully bought into Brian Kelly yet. I just don't. I just get that vibe. Like LSU is a team that you always talk about being at the top of the league, and right now they just, even with Garrett Nussmeier and all the hype coming back with him, I just don't hear the talk and the buzz around LSU like I would normally think I would hear.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely dwindled a little bit. But at 6, they've got Texas A&M. I think that's a good spot for them to be, right?
I think so. I mean, pretty decent schedule for them, and again, I think Elko's got to perform. Texas A&M's probably been a disappointment in Texas A&M fans' eyes since they've entered the league. I mean, Missouri's made it to the SEC championship game twice, and they've yet to make it. And so they're still sitting there kind of with all the money and the facilities and all. They've definitely underachieved. No question about it.
Last year, the Florida Gators definitely, I think, had the toughest schedule in the league. And now this year, they're at 5 in the SEC. So
it's still brutal. Still a brutal stretch. Couple brutal stretches, one early and then one late for Florida. We'll see how they're playing, see if they can stay healthy.
Especially if Billy Napier really needs to win.
No question. On most hot seat lists, he's number one. He freezes 2 or 3. So we're very similar.
Then there's Oklahoma at 4.
Brent Venables, another hot seat guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, Oklahoma's fans aren't going to just sit back and go, hey, we're good. We're winning 2 or 3 games in the league every year and getting our brains beat out by our arch rival Texas. So ain't going to fly much longer for Brent Venables. He goes out and gets John Mateer, maybe the best quarterback in the country, and they need it. So we'll see if they can perform, see if they can recover from that disappointment last year.
Another one on the hot seat, Sam Pittman, Arkansas at 3.
I got a question to ask you. These 3 teams, are they the 3 hardest schedules because they suck? And everybody on their schedule, majority of the people on their schedule is better than them. You got to think.
Are you saying like from 3 up?
Yeah, from 3 up. Yes. I mean, because you look at the next 2 and you're like, well, 100%. There's a reason. So I think that correlates too, right?
It has to, because Mississippi State at 2.
I mean, everybody they play is better than them. So that naturally makes it a tough schedule.
Hello, come on. Let's use our brains here. They're always at the bottom of whatever it is that we're doing.
And then, of course, the one that tends to have this every year is Vanderbilt at number 1. And look, we can't laugh. They beat us last year and they beat Alabama last year. So, but then they turned around and lost to Georgia State. So,
coming from a Georgia native, as somebody that's from Georgia, if you're losing to Georgia State, I remember we almost lost to Georgia State my freshman year, I think it was.
That's true. That's right.
Embarrassing.
It is. And so Vanderbilt, that is typical Vanderbilt. You win 7 games, you beat Auburn and Alabama, but you lose to Georgia State and you lose to a couple other teams. You're like, man, how'd that happen? So what could have been a phenomenal year ends up still being a really good year for Vanderbilt, but most people would consider that a disappointment. So, all right, there it is. But your Auburn Tigers come in at number 11, which, again,
if you're looking at it from the way that you're ranking Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, Auburn should be up there because last year we were losing to everybody.
It's true. That's a good point.
But if you're basing it off of the roster, I
think that goes into it too. Yes. I think I think there's a lot that goes into this.
But if you're looking at last year versus, you see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying. It should apply all the way across the board, not just for some. So Good point. Good point. All right. We'll end on a good point. How about that? We hope everybody has good points today. And again, we appreciate all of you that have subscribed to our channel. If you have not done that yet, please go do that. Hit the like button. we would greatly appreciate that. Again, the show will be on at noon. Andy and JJ today. Faith and I will be at practice tomorrow, so we possibly will have a recorded podcast for you in the morning. So just kind of stay tuned on that. But looking forward to being back with you again tomorrow. So, Faith, I'll let you send us out.
Hope everybody has the best day ever.
And a big old
War Eagle.